I think doing volunteering within a hospital is probably more important for yourself rather than for the hospital. You need to understand how hospital works, how it's like to work in a hospital environment, and the only way to find that out is by actually going and immersing yourself in that sort of environment.
Hospital volunteer work, I think it's important in the sense that it will give you a good idea of what being in the hospital is like. Do you like the hospital environment? But I don't think it's a be-all, end-all for your application for sure. But because if you're doing other things, like for example, if you're a varsity player and you do practices and you don't have time for volunteer because you're doing varsity, doing well in school as well as other extracurriculars, it's fine.
I think it's helpful for the applicant to kind of get a gauge of what's involved, the flow of the hospital, but I don't think it's mandatory by any means. I think as long as you can show that you know what you're getting yourself into and have some community involvement, then I think that's great. I personally didn't have any hospital volunteer work.
I think it's actually very important, and I think it's something that every pre-med should at least try and do a couple of hours of, because it exposes you to the clinical world of the hospital. It allows you to see how nurses interact with doctors, how doctors interact with patients. So even from an early standpoint, you get an appreciation for how a physician works in his daily living. And it will also give you some stories that you can use for your medical school interview, because you've actually had those experiences in the past and you can put a medical twist to all of your answers.
I definitely don't think it will make or break your medical school application. I think it's just more if you want to kind of pursue the healthcare field before your medical school application with regards to exploring what it's like to actually be in that setting. I did volunteer in a hospital, but only in grade 10 as part of my community service hours. I definitely know some of my friends didn't do any volunteer work in a hospital and they were perfectly fine in getting into medical school.